The city of Tshwane remains without a mayor after a myriad of issues hinder the election of Murungwa Makwarela's successor. Now, the multi-party coalition wants to raise a motion of no confidence against the Speaker, Mncedi Nzwanana. Nzwanana, however, has adjourned the sitting shortly after it started a little while ago, saying it's illegal. Moloko Moloto is monitoring the situation in Pretoria, joining us now live with an update, and he'll be speaking to a number of the role players inside that council. Good afternoon again, Moloko. So, what's happened?
Hello, Braden. Well, indeed, the council meeting, the special council meeting that was meant to cast a vote of no confidence in the council speaker, Mncedi Nzwanana, was adjourned. It did not even take more than 5 minutes, Braden. Interestingly, it was presided over by the speaker himself, the man who the multi-party coalition partners led by the DA as well as Action SA, but also including parties such as the not COPE, definitely not COPE, the Freedom Front Plus, want him gone. And this is a special meeting that's been called by the city manager. Upon the arrival of the councillors, as well as the city manager, we wanted to see what would happen. We were expecting that the city manager, as the person who called the meeting, would be the one who takes over the main chair and preside over or chair this particular meeting. Interestingly, it was Nzwanana himself, and he said that there are about 10 signatures that he said were questionable, and as a result, this particular meeting is illegal, and he adjourned it. But let's get reaction, starting with Action SA, Michael Berman. Michael, surely that is not what you wanted. You wanted by now the speaker to be gone.
Without any question, and I think we need to be clear, this is a subversion of democracy. The multi-party coalition of which Action SA is a part has a majority awarded to it in the 2021 elections by the residents of Tshwane. Last week we couldn't elect a mayor because the speaker unlawfully adjourned the meeting. This week he will not allow a meeting to be called for a motion of no confidence in himself. This is anti-democratic. It needs to be fought in our courts, and it's not something that can be tolerated.
You're mentioning the court. Is that the next step you will be taking?
Without any question. We already have a meeting with our lawyers planned this evening, and the courts of our country have to be the final refuge when you have a minority in council that is stopping the majority from governing.
All right, Michael Berman from Action SA. Braden, let's engage the Democratic Alliance. I'm joined by a councillor. His name is Tshwane Moloto. Thank you so much for making time. When the speaker adjourned the meeting, I did not see anyone from your caucus as the DA or any of your coalition partners standing up to object his decision to adjourn this particular meeting. Why?
No, look, it's a very sad day for democracy, and what we're seeing is a pattern of unlawfulness on the side of the Speaker. Our Deputy Chief Whip, in fact, did raise his hand to try and get the Speaker's attention, but the Speaker had no intention of this meeting sitting. He came here with the intention to collapse the meeting, and as was said before, the reality is that the majority of councillors, via petition, called for this meeting to happen. The Speaker has not allowed it to sit. Similarly to Action SA, the reality is that we're going to have to look into taking legal action. We're engaging with our lawyers at the moment because we need to get back to governing the city of Tshwane.
You have failed to remove the speaker today. You possibly had wanted someone else to be presiding over tomorrow's meeting where you are going to be electing the executive mayor. What are the confidence levels now? Do you believe that tomorrow you're going to have Celia Brink as the executive mayor? What gives you that confidence?
No, Celia Brink will be mayor tomorrow unless we see the ANC and EFF collapse the meeting. The reality is we have the numbers with a majority of councillors with 108 seats, and Celia Brink will be elected mayor tomorrow unless the ANC and the EFF continue with their campaign of coordinated chaos.
You have until the 14th of April to submit the midterm budget adjustment and the 2023-2024 budget to the provincial treasury. They gave you that deadline. It doesn't look like at this point in time, at the rate things are going, you're going to meet that deadline. especially if you can't elect the executive mayor tomorrow. What are you saying to the people of Tshwane as the leaders, the political leaders here in council?
No, look, the reality is one, not passing an adjustment budget isn't enough to put the city under administration. But the reality is that we need to pass the adjustment budget so that we can continue to deliver services for our residents. The ANC believe that they're playing games with us. The reality is that they're playing games with the lives of the residents of the city of Tshwane. And we've asked, we've called, we've said, please, can we stop with these political games? The reality is that we have a majority, and unless they continue collapsing council meetings, we're not going to get anywhere. And it's the people of Tshwane that are suffering as a result.
All right, thank you so much, Moloko Moloto. He is a DA councillor. Let's bring in this conversation the African National Congress, the Regional Secretary, George Machila. You heard Kwena Moloto here saying that you think you are playing games with the Democratic Alliance, but in fact, you are playing games with the residents of Tshwane.
Well, it is unfortunate what Kwena is saying. He knows for sure that for the past 7 years, there were no services in the city of Tshwane. There are no services as we speak now. I don't know what games is he referring to, because, I mean, under the ANC government, the city has been booming. It was a construction site, so he's just speaking against himself.
What happened, George, when we were expecting the city manager, the person who called the meeting, to sit on that chair and chair the meeting? We saw the speaker sitting. Why would the speaker sit and preside over a meeting he did not call?
Well, we have said it earlier, Tate Moloto, that there's a problem here. This meeting has been illegally and unlawfully constituted. We have a speaker in the city of Tshwane, Councillor Nzwanano, and it can't be that you'll have a city manager convening a meeting when we have a speaker, because the speaker never refused to call a meeting unless there's evidence to that effect. That's the speaker refused to call a meeting. Therefore, the DA-led coalition petitioned the city manager. So there's no such.
There's a litigation coming. They are saying they are approaching the court to ensure that you don't disrupt in whatever form, you don't stop them from proceeding, especially given that tomorrow there's going to be a meeting to elect the new executive mayor. Well,
as the ANC, we are not worried because we have never disrupted the meeting. I mean, the person who attended the meeting is the speaker on the basis of how the meeting was constituted. So we are not worried. The courts are for all of us. If they go to court, we can follow suit. There's no problem with our courts.
At the rate things are going, is it your wish as the African National Congress that perhaps the provincial government should intervene, put the municipality under administration in terms of Section 139 of the Constitution?
Well, not at all. We believe we've got the capacity and the capability to run the municipality on our own. Hence, at the beginning, we have elected Makwarela, who disappointed us. We elected Nzwanano as the speaker. So the ANC is fine. We have enough numbers. Even tomorrow, if everything is done within the confines of the law, the mayor will be the mayor that has been supported by the ANC and others.
Given the fluidity and the fact that it's always a numbers game, here in Tshwane, you're very unstable. Whoever is elected tomorrow as the executive mayor, there's no guarantee that by the next month they will still be in their position. Surely this municipality is unstable. Would you disagree with that?
Well, for us as the ANC, it's not about numbers. It's about capacity, competency, and capability. If any of the people elected is able to deliver the services for our people, that particular person will be supported. Hence, we are not even putting in a candidate as the ANC.
Will you support Celia Brink of the DA if he's elected tomorrow?
If he does the work, we don't have any problem. We have been supporting everybody. I mean, hence we have never disrupted a meeting of council in our tenure as the ANC, in the whole term. We have never done that.
All right, thank you so much. George Machila, the secretary of the ANC in Tshwane. We all wait to see what's going to be happening tomorrow, Braden, at 10 o'clock. These councillors must come back here to elect the executive mayor. You would understand that in terms of the law, if there is no executive mayor, the municipality cannot pass the adjustment budget. It was supposed to have happened sometime in February, meaning that if they cannot even meet the April 14th deadline imposed by the provincial treasury, whatever money they will be spending will be unauthorized expenditure. But also importantly, the 2023-2024 budget, despite the fact that they were also given the deadline of April, the important thing that must be noted here, Braden, is that before you even pass the budget, you must go out in terms of legislation and get the views of various communities in Tshwane. That has not happened. That is a process that ought to have been led by the executive mayor. The question, therefore, is going to be on the credibility of the budget that they possibly will meet if they succeed in electing the mayor tomorrow. The credibility of that budget that they have to submit at least by the 14th of April is going to be in question. Raden?
Tshwane remains in a mayoral chaos, now a speaker chaos as well. Thank you very much, Moloko Moloto, for that update from within the council in Tshwane.